All right, Courtney, I've been through a stack of client emails the last couple of days. I'm sitting here looking at yours. It's a little after midnight. I want to get this to you before I go to bed, but there's several things. I'm not being rude by not looking at the camera. I've got the computer up with you with your file and videos up on it right now. So I want to look at your videos while I'm talking to you. There are a few things that I want to explain. Going down through the weeks, Luke's still awake, watching, let me see, your video titled Deads and Squats. You've got some issues going on with the heavier deadlifts. We do have the band still on the bar. I mentioned this to a client that I sent a video to last night or the night before. I think you have an issue with your pelvis, your very, very lower back, and your hips running forward. I know you have a history of injuries and issues, and there's some nerve stuff going on there. But it seems like, how could I explain this? We need some kind of movement. I knocked on the table while thinking. We need some kind of movement going on before the bar comes off the ground. You are getting set up perfectly, and you're trying to make the first movement to be your hands pulling on the bar and your legs pressing against the floor. I like to think of when you're getting set up on the deadlift, you're trying to wedge your body into the smallest area possible, forming kind of like a triangle-ish type of thing between, kind of like your feet, the bar, your shoulders, your hips. I know that's more than 3 angles. But your bar and feet are going to kind of form the same kind of starting reference point. I like to make that triangle as explosive and compact as possible so it's ready to go. I think it's almost like you are sitting in a chair and you're getting tight and setting up into a chair and then standing up, and you're using only quads to move your body out of the chair. In the process of just driving with your quads and legs, it's immediately causing your lower back to flatten. It's not really round, but it's flattened. Your butt's not stuck up at all. This is going to be important in a few minutes when I get to it, okay? What I want you to think about doing is standing up and then sitting down into the chair, and as soon as you get to that chair, explode out of the chair. Okay, you're going to recruit hamstrings, abs, upper back, mid back when you sit down, and explode as soon as you sit down. So I want you to find your position on the deadlifts. And then I want you to kind of stand up a little bit, hips go high, and then drop them and go. But you have to find that perfect position as you drop before you go. And I mentioned this in another video. Last week's deadlifts, I'll try to point this out tomorrow and get it to you as well. I began finding a really, really good position for myself. So if you watch my deadlifts from last week, I deadlifted 440 plus the bands. Not a big weight, but it's a big weight for me coming back from a hamstring tear. That set wasn't perfect, but later on I did 8 sets of 3 with a much lighter weight plus the bands. And my last couple of sets, I was doing just that. I would get set up, pop my hips up, and then dip them down till I hit the position, landed in the chair, and then exploded up. And at that point, I wasn't using just quads anymore, although I tend to pull just hamstrings. So I got quads into the movement. I think you've got to take the quads out of the movement just a little bit, because the quad in the movement is throwing everything immediately on your lower back. I'll try to explain that tomorrow on video when I actually deadlift. But I think that's what's throwing you off, or you just had a wild day on deadlifts because your entire deadlift session that day just looked off. Your stiff-legged deadlifts, I want you to arch your back so hard that it's basically impossible for you to get the bar lower than an inch below center kneecap. So you've got to arch really, really hard. Your entire back, arch super hard, top to bottom. And I'm not for sure if you can do that. And I'm guessing that if you can't, then we've found something else that you've got to work on. arch your back super hard, top to bottom, stick your butt out, and don't bend over. Your butt goes back, okay? You're going pretty much all the way down to the floor there. Should be an impossibility because you're also got your back flat, okay? You don't have to, it's a stiff leg, not a straight-legged deadlift. So what I look for is your legs really not to move, no extra knee bend at all, but shift the hips back when you go down and always maintain the most ridiculous arch absolutely possible. No long arming it, everything tight, super arch, chest stuck up. What else did we get to on that day? You had a bunch of accessories, which you killed. I love your selection of back work. On one of your press days, the overhead press, love it. Doing absolutely amazing. We keep pushing these. I still don't want to get you at full range of motion just yet. We can drop it down a little bit, a notch every once in a while. But I think doing the small partials is the way to go. Protect your shoulder, and we can continue to develop your entire shoulders through other lifts. We're on kind of a roll. Going through this video here, the overhead press just looks amazing. And your bench press is just ridiculous. This isn't the best benching that I've seen you do right here, but it's pretty freaking good. I did talk to a friend of mine about getting you a bench press shirt, single ply, open back bench press shirt, something that would be a little bit big for you as well. He suggested that you be able to bench somewhere around 155 or 165 off of any board before we look at getting you a bench shirt, because you'll need that much weight on the bar. You'll have to be able to lock out that much weight to be able to get much out of a shirt. Because you'll take that down, be a wild ride, and it's going to fly up, but you still have to be able to lock it out at the end. So keep that in mind. Once you get there, we will find a way to get you a bench shirt. I think you'll thrive in a bench shirt. I think you'd be an amazing single ply power lifter. We're on to the rack pulls. You said you absolutely hate them. Once again, the first thing that's happening as you rack pull is that lower back is flattening. And that's what I had a hunch about on the rack pulls. We're always looking for weaknesses. Always looking for weaknesses, because every time we find a weakness, we work on it, everything else shoots up. It takes a while. We go backwards at first, but then after that, everything skyrockets. So we find a weakness and we exploit it. So we've got you pulling just around the knee. And even though it sounds like that would be a much easier pull, and you're using more weight than you would from the floor, the way the lift starts, you're either going to do it perfectly or it's going to be all lower back. So your entire core midsection is either going to brace and handle the weight, or the back's going to round. And what's happening is you're getting way, way behind the bar, which is better than over in front of the bar. But either way, your lower back is completely rounding. So this week, we're going to drop the weight even more. We're going to build this. We're going to find a way to make this work. And then we'll drop the pins. We'll raise the pins, because I really think that you're going to deadlift big numbers sometime soon. This stands out. If we go a little bit farther in the video, as soon as you go to your squats, you start, maintain, and finish with a solid arch in your back. I think that's what it is that I've figured out. When you've got a bar on your back, you start, maintain, and finish an arch. When the bar is not on your back, you don't start with a hard arch, you don't maintain a hard arch, and you don't finish with a hard arch. I think squats are wonderful for you, but I'm beginning to wonder. Obviously, we got to continue to work on squats. I think you're going to squat 135 really, really soon. But I just want you to be conscious of that. I want you to see I want you to watch the videos and see the same thing I am. I'm scrolling through here. I was hoping to see you in some knee wraps this week. Watching your deadlifts are so much better when you know that you're going to be doing a slow negative on the way down. I have no idea why. Maybe you're conscious. This is the second week in a row that I saw that. But I think maybe you're more conscious on the way up of bar position, because you've got the same weight and the same bands on the bar later in the week, but you're taking the bar down with at least a 3 to 4 second negative, and it's perfect. Your back position is perfect all the way up and all the way down. Pretty much all the reps. It's kind of phenomenal. I can't figure it out. Maybe it's all in your head, or maybe you were having a really bad day earlier in the week. Your last bench press session, best benching I've seen you do. That's your setup is absolutely crazy. Maybe it's the black and white cheetah-ish pants. I don't know. If that's giving you some kind of carryover, see if they come in my size. I need some. You have an amazing arch. Your bar path is great. You're pressing in a great line. The way that you've got your shoulders rotated down, your back arched, your chest up and rotated back into you. The bar is going in a straight line, but pressing away at the same time. It's absolutely amazing. I really think that you are going to press 135, a big plate, sometime soon. The log press push-ups are absolutely wonderful. I've still got you doing all of the therapy and movement work with the planks and the shoulder work and stuff like that. You're probably way ahead of anyone and everyone else that's currently doing these. Maybe ever. But you're kicking tail on these. I don't think you realize how much tail you're kicking on these, but I think that we need to continue to do these because your shoulders and your back and your hips are going to have to continue to get stronger in those positions if you're going to bench press and overhead press more. I see you doing everything correct, and I see you pushing yourself still, so it's hard work. So this is something that you're good at, and I still see you pushing yourself to get better at. I would like you to keep those in there. I think they're beneficial to you. All the plank presses, plank raises, you make them look easy. I would love to share this video with people because they need to try it and see how easy you make it look. You can also try hooking your band up instead of hooking it to the band peg. Hook it up to your reverse hyper behind you. Hook it up to where the plates are so it moves a little bit. So when you're doing the shoulder presses, when you're doing the plank position and you're doing the shoulder presses, that band will give a little bit and then it will go, and then you've got to lock and steady on the way out. And once you do that, that's going to be not just a lot of shoulder, chest, shoulder, and tricep, but a lot of your entire back, butt, glutes, hamstrings, really locking in the process. If you can do that, try it and see. Try it and see. But you're kicking absolute tail on those. And you're looking really mean while you're doing it too, which it seems to be standard. So anyway, I'm going to get your programming to you, but I wanted to go through and explain. You're making huge strides. Your press was your weakest, and now it's just skyrocketing. Your squat was non-existent, and now it's just impressive. It's just impressive. Your deadlift, I know I'm criticizing your deadlift, but if I had no clue what was going on, what would my job be? If I can look at what you're doing and figure out a weakness and a technical error, then we can fix it. I think that's a huge plus. So you're doing absolutely amazing. I absolutely love it. Let me get this uploaded. I'm going to have your programming to you within the next 2 hours. I'll pretty much have it finished in the next 2 hours. I'll get that to you and then talk to you guys this week. Have a good one.